Sean Salisbury here for Open Sports, joined by future Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk, who works not only for Open Sports but also covers football for the NFL Network as he gets himself prepared for this Super Bowl, Super Bowl 43. Speaking of which, the NFL, Marshall, is celebrating 4 decades of greatness, with the coin toss and with the presentation of the Super Bowl trophy. I just kind of want to get your take on these guys because you've been a student of the game and understand the history of football. 69, 79, 89, 99. Joe Namath in 69, obviously he'll be there for the presentation. And then you got in 79, Lynn Swann, 89, Roger Craig, and John Elway in 99 who will be part of the coin toss. Let's start with Joe Namath. Is there something that sticks out about Joe? And I believe all these guys could play in any era, Marshall. Great football players could have played with leather helmets on or could play now with the way the specialized. I believe that. And these 4 guys in my mind can. But let's start with Joe Namath. Anything that sticks out about Broadway Joe, not only just Super Bowl, but him as a player?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I talk to a bunch of quarterback coaches and the great offensive minds, and you ask them about, okay, what makes the quarterback special, and what kind of guy that you want, and who did it the best? They talk about throwing the football, being balanced, having quiet shoulders, using your lower body. That's Joe Namath. Like, they always say, oh, Joe Namath did it the best. And, you want to not talk about Super Bowl, but whenever you can predict against a pretty darn good team that you are going to win, it doesn't get any better than that.
Boy, especially when you're talking about underdogs, man. They're a worse underdog than the Arizona Cardinals are in this Super Bowl. How about Lynn Swann? I mean, I know what sticks out in my mind is those acrobatic catches he always seemed to come up with, and he, a lot like you, was a student of the game. What do you think about Lynn Swann? What sticks out?
And I love the acrobatic catches. I love what that was and how he brought that gracefulness to the receiver position. But I think people didn't really look at Swanee for when Terry threw that high ball across the middle. I mean, Swanee would go up and protect the ball, make the catch, or make sure the defender didn't get the interception and take the hit. And I mean, and that was back in the day when you could hit somebody.
Yeah, you didn't get fined for a legal hit, no doubt.
When you could hit somebody, I mean, and Swanee and stalwart, I mean, but definitely Swanee, man, tremendous deep threat, caught the ball across the middle, definitely deserved to be a Hall of Famer, very deserving of his status. How
about our man now? Is it true that Roger Craig, first of all, running back for the 49ers, and one of those guys, Marshall, you took it to another level, but Roger, a Super Bowl year of '89, and he was in, obviously, plenty of Super Bowls, but he was that first back ever to go 1,000 receiving, 1,000 rushing. He was that guy. I mean, very versatile and kind of changed the way people looked at that position. And then you came along, and LaDainian Tomlinson and Brian Westbrook. But Roger Craig, did he actually inspire you? And what about Roger Craig sticks out to you, not only with the Super Bowls, but the way Roger went about his business, which I know you studied him plenty?
Oh, I studied him a lot. I mean, just watched how effective he maintained to be playing in the offense that, didn't emphasize the run as much. He was never the main option, but, I wish I could tell you or emphasize how hard it is to go 1,000. There's only one other man that can tell you or even say, like, hey, I've done that. And he and I, we are the two. It's a very small class. People don't even acknowledge it because it's something that it's so hard to do.
Oh, and you think about
to do.
Yeah, and you think about Marcus Allen, how versatile he was. We know LT, Brian Westbrook's that guy, but you and Roger are the only ones that have done it. And heck, I know how tough it is because I watched great players do it, and I can't even imagine throwing for 1,000 yards, let alone rushing and catching for 1,000 at one position. But Roger, with that work ethic and the things he did, I don't know how many more times that's going to be done with the specialization, Marshall.
And that's the question with the 2-back system now today that's being employed. It becomes tougher, but man, Roger Craig, and we talk about his pass catching, and when I studied him, you saw. I remember the high knees coming through the hole and how tough he ran the football, and the fact that he played fullback, at Nebraska. You think about all that stuff, and you say, man, this guy was phenomenal, but his pass blocking. How many times did Joe drop back and Roger made that key block when they weren't trying to get 5 guys out? Was just outstanding. He was every bit of the fact that you wanted to be in there every down and could play and play it every down, which is, you know, sort of unheard of in today's game. But without a doubt, you know, Roger was a guy that I studied and just loved watching.
Well, and you obviously did a pretty damn good job of emulating Roger and where he went. Finally, John Elway. Marshall, I've seen a lot of great ones. It's not even a matter of bias, but I love John, and I think another one of our colleagues, obviously, as is Roger at opensports.com, is that John was so spectacular talent-wise in his competitiveness. I think he's the best quarterback of all time, because I think in his first 3 Super Bowls that he lost, they'd have never been there without John, and then he was able to get Terrell Davis and get 2 Super Bowls after that. And it's an argument, Unitas, Montana, but I can argue that John carried teams on his back. How do you feel about Elway, and what sticks out to you about John?
Oh, number 7 was special. You know, I mean, from the beginning, hey, Baltimore, I don't want to play here. I'm going to Denver. I'll threaten you with baseball. You know, to call a shot, then to go to a team and to be a success and a talent, and then to find out how to be a leader, and then in finding out how to be a leader, you know, not 1 time but 2 times, you do the ultimate and win the Super Bowl. I think that speaks volumes for John and his leadership and what he meant to the Broncos organization. The thing that sticks out the most to me about John was I remember talking to him after he won his 2nd Super Bowl, and you know, it's guys like that you just hang around. You know, I just wanted to hang around him. You know, whenever he was kneeling down on the sideline at the Pro Bowl, I wanted to kneel down by him, and I remember sitting there talking to John, and I said, "So which one was better, the first one or the second one?" He said, "Well, Marsh, you know, the first one's always special because you never think you're going to get there. The second one's good, but the first one's very special." And I said, "Well, you know, John, you made some decisions, you know, like back in the day." He said, "Look, you have to do things to make you happy, and sometimes those things may bring you places that's different than where you're at." And that prompted me to then ask for my release from the coach, and, you know, kind of wanting to get out of there because I wasn't sure what direction that they were going in and how soon, with having the rookie quarterback in Peyton, that we were going to be able to contend. And I, with his advice, ended up going to the Rams and winning the Super Bowl a year later.
And what's amazing about that is both you and John stuck by your guns, not only then but throughout, and withstood some people's criticism and got the Super Bowl rings to show for it. Marshall Faulk, you're as good as it gets, my friend, not only on the field as we celebrate 4 decades of greatness with the NFL, but I know you played in 2 different decades, in the 90s and in the 2000s, you know, in the decade of 2000 to 2000 and to now. And the NFL was lucky to have you, and you do one hell of a job covering football for them. And as my friend, I really appreciate it. Thank you for the time of coming on, and we should have ourselves one hell of a Super Bowl.
All right, Sean.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Think you can complete the drive? Play today and get an automatic entry to win daily prizes, 2 tickets to the big game, and a brand new car. Start your drive today at opensports.com.